My name is Jonathan Parks, and welcome to Jonathan's Nature Crafts. I must inform you that I do not live in this house by myself, but live here with other people. Sometimes other members of the household may have to walk through areas where I might be recording with other family members on the phone. If you hear any noise like that, please feel free to disregard. We are doing our best to get noise canceling equipment, which may at least keep you from hearing exactly what is being said. Thank you for considering. Now, you all have also seen the little update I posted yesterday about my butternut blocks, and will tell you all that as far as this other shepherd is concerned, I've been putting a little more work into him. And we'll just also kind of like to mention that we're going to get back around to doing a little bit more work now to Mary and Joseph here, and try to just get a little extra work done into their heads and faces and all the little other things we might need to see or do. And come down to it, I say that there's just one little thing we got with this little tool. It's I think like an 8-inch number 12 gouge, something like that, 8 millimeter. I tell you, I just have it down as an 812. I don't really always get my words exact, but like I say before, I mean, there were certain books I saw patterns and directions in that I bought these gouges specifically for, and then just kind of like did the things where sort of worked with them in ways that I knew they would be rather useful to do. And even in this very case, I tell you, my tools change around a lot as far as what I use them for, what I do with them, and just kind of made this little gouge line for their chins, and sort of come up here to like make the place for their heads to come right in. And I say just removing the wood as it needs to be, just to show a little work in what all we have to do, and show and say. I say that there's come this time where with Mary we're going to do the little same thing, sort of work a little line up here to kind of make out her face. And I say just get out these lines. There's been times in my life where matters have gotten a little bit confusing lately. Been so busy I've forgotten things here and there as far as what I need to take with me to go certain places, but had to of course make myself a few computer notes to help me remember the things that I need to be doing just to get around. And I tell y'all that this is just kind of little work we got in ways, and we just kind of, I'd say, came along, made the little face here. But I'd say that perhaps for the first time we might use this gouge to try to dig the face out a bit. It wouldn't hurt to try to do it with a different tool than you've done it with before, and try to, you know, just remove little excess wood from places and things and people and figures of all sorts of shapes and sizes, you know, and kind of work a little bit of ways into what we have, make and do. I tell y'all that kind of like what this work was about, I say, and kind of do the same here with this one. Kind of move it right in, try to get a little where, you know, we see a little excess wood that we might have to remove a little bit here just to kind of come into the chin of the figure to make it so it's going to be a little good of character to show about and wear about. And I say that this is just kind of wonderful little issues here that we manage and control and say that we kind of have here to work with and make a little bit of a something of, and come down where we're going to get out a good little facey here. I say try to remove things out to where they're going to be just the way we ought to see them to be. I say kind of come down to where we're going to get the face a little bit rounder in, a little more carved out, I say. And probably for one little step we do, there's a thing we can go ahead and do on Mary here where we kind of make these little lines here along the cloak and sort of cut them out like so, to that kind of line about the little place of the head. And there's probably going to be a step or two we'll take with Joseph eventually, but I'd say that the carving out of his headdress might be a little something we might have to do away from the camera so that I can kind of focus on it a little bit better and just see how it works, because we got little places here where, and this line here, there's a place where we take this wood out to try to get in and make it so her hood will kind of play out a little more and show out a little more, just to come down to what we have in a little bit of a carving of a figure for the best nativity we can have. I say that it's just where we'll be leaving off in a little bit. And I tell y'all that there might be a step here we'll take to kind of draw a few little extra lines and maybe perhaps get a little line in for Joseph's headdress maybe. And I say that this is just something where you could probably see in between videos I kind of trimmed this part off here to kind of make part of it, and then we're going to try to go about an inch down, yes, an inch down from here to make the little ways that we show a little kind of work to be done in a little piece, I say. And oh, I say that this is just kind of like one little way that we work about our doings and see how we do with little what we have, and come with all this, I say, just special steps to make things about as good as they can be for a wood carving, and kind of get a ways all further along to kind of show what we are making to go along, the little ways we have of doing all the good and special and right little things we do, just to show how a little work and a project is coming out. This is how we come along with that. And then I say, with after having done that much, I tell y'all, it's just going to be probably one more thing we need to line up a little better here to kind of make that out. And I say, finally got around to where we make this whole cloak here, and I say put in a little marks like we did for Mary a while ago, right in there. And perhaps I say, you know, they might even suggest doing this with the gouge, but we're going to go ahead and take the knife and we're going to move these little marks right here that are right in the front like that, and then come along and I say just sort of make the lines along the bottom of the headdress. I say kind of work is just the obvious to us when we kind of make things so they show a little grace to all the people we see. I say, oh, and all this time I tell y'all that this is just one of those wonderful little things we make out of wood, and kind of where lines can come all around. Sometimes for me, there are things I can be a little more comfortable doing with a knife than I can be doing with most other gouges and things. Sometimes it's kind of easier to do it that way. You kind of, I'd say, depending on the wood, don't make as much mess. This redwood here can be a little bit fragile, and I'd say maybe with the bass or something like that, like they suggest using for the book, you could do this with a gouge. But you know, redwood kind of is grained a little differently, so you kind of have to be careful how you carve it, or it might kind of mesh apart a little bit. And so that's where we take a line, place it in, oh, I say, kind of where we got just the sign of what we need. And probably while we got one more thing to do, come along and remove this wood from the access of the hood and try to get things out just a good little way they ought to be, I say. And for all the time we get to spend on here, there's probably going to be a few more things to show. Try not to make this too long, try not to make it too short, but I'd say sometimes it ends in minutes, and I try to end things right on the minute sometimes. And kind of where with this, not a lot to say right now, because I say that I'm kind of on a diet and getting used to my exercise routine, having things a little differently. Been out to Kroger's to buy a lot of fruit in those little cartons they have there and up front, and just kind of doing things where that's kind of my sweets for now because of all things I can't have. Thank you for coming on and watching. Hope you all will always keep in touch and stay tuned always. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you in the next video. Stay tuned.